Well, let's talk about something that's often overlooked here in Australia, and that's the crucial role that family carers play when loved ones become ill or suffer serious injury. It's no doubt that caring for our family in times of need is a really important part of the cycle of life and how we build meaningful relationships. It's a task that's meaningful and should be valued by our community. But given it's rarely thought of as a job in these circumstances, carers often find themselves exhausted, overstressed, and provided with little respite. Thankfully, there's a foundation with the goal of providing care for carers. You know, I'm a big believer in the value of civil society, the idea that concerned members of a community are so much better at identifying and solving problems in a flexible way than any faraway impersonal government ever could be. Well, to my mind, my next guest is proof. Ronnie Benbow and her husband Mike are founding directors of the Carers Foundation, and they're making a big difference in the lives of carers. Ronnie, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Amanda.
Tell me a little bit about what the Carers Foundation does.
So, yeah, you're correct, and it's all about community and supporting each other. So Carers Foundation has been established to support unpaid family carers. And often when you think about carers, people think that they're just old people, like people caring for their elderly parents or their grandparents, but, you know, that's not the case. The fact is that they're actually 8-year-olds in caring roles, and they go on to be teenagers and they miss out on their life and they don't get any education.
Gosh,
and
that's a lot, isn't it, for a young child to take?
It's massive, and we see the end results for that. So what we do is we provide wellbeing programs, 1-day, 3-day wellbeing programs for our carers, and that's to restore their own, you know, wellbeing, their own, because they don't get time to care for themselves. They work so hard. And it also, you know, helps them to connect with other carers and just, you know, really helps them to restore their health and you know, just find themselves and just someone care for them for a change so they don't break down, because obviously the goal is to prevent that health crisis breakdown. And by the time the carers get to us, that's where they're at, which is just not acceptable. It's just not acceptable because we're seeing way too many carers that are not coping.
Yeah, and it's a lot to carry.
It's a massive burden, and look, you know, they do it on their own. They don't tell anybody. They're the last person to ask for anything, and they just don't look after themselves. And that's where we come in to educate them how to do that, provide really amazing support and programs, you know, to support their physical, emotional, and mental well-being. Yeah. And we look after their, you know, we teach them mental health resilience. We teach them how to cope with the stress, the enormous stress they have at home.
And just give them a break.
And give them some time. And the biggest thing is the connection with each other and other people, because often it's very isolating and lonely to be a carer. So that depression will hit in, and, you know, I don't know if you are aware, or your readers, your viewers, thank you, that's what I was looking for. But like 30% of carers actually die before the person they care for.
Oh, gosh.
And that's a massive number. And this is why we have to come together as a community and support our carers and identify carers, because our kids are going through school not being identified. There are families falling through the system. There are, you know, people that just don't have time to look after themselves, and they're the ones that are, you know, it's most detrimental to their health, and obviously, you know, they need support.
You've been doing this for over 15 years.
Yes,
and
longer.
I mean, you've even been recognised with a Medal of the Order of Australia for your work. Congratulations on that recognition. But how many people have you helped get through this journey in that time?
It's hard to know, because we were privately funding these wellbeing retreats for a long time, because and I've always wanted to do that since I was a student nurse, and I just knew that nobody cared for the carer way back then, 45 years ago. Not much has changed. So I've always wanted to have this vision of a beautiful healing centre for carers to restore their own health.
It's a lovely idea.
And recover, you know, because the impact of caring is massive. So we were doing it privately for 15 years only because, you know, I was a carer. My husband had a near-fatal accident. I was caring for him. One of our 4 boys had a serious illness. And then I was caring for both of my parents.
You know what it's like.
I know what it's like. Everybody involved with the Carers Foundation has had lived caring experience. So it was in 2015, after my beautiful father had passed away, that I said, if I don't do this now, we'll never do it. I'll be the one needing care. So officially 7 years as a foundation.
Amazing.
Forever.
Oh, Ronnie, I wish we could talk about it all night. Thank you so much for the work that you do.